life, don't miss it.
Want to see the world from a totally different perspective?
Ready for provocative conversation,
Intriguing stories?
and inspiration?
Then don't touch that dial. Welcome to Talk with Francesca.
She'll give you something to talk about all week long.
Now, here's Francesca.
What if you took the time to really soak it?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk with Francesca. I'm Francesca Luca, your host, and I'm excited as always to be with you here today. So I want you to talk to me. Let me know what you're thinking, whether you find the show useful, entertaining, riveting, or even a little sluggish. I want to know. If there's a show suggestion that you want to make, a question that you have for a guest or for me, I'm here. All you got to do is jet me an email at info@talkwithfrancesca.com, or you can also go to my website, talkwithfrancesca.com, and fill out the contact form. It'll get right to me, and I promise to get right back to you. And if you missed part of the show, you can hop on over to recent shows on my website. Again, that address is talkwithfrancesca.com, and listen there. And of course, there are hundreds of episodes to listen to on iTunes, so you can listen to Talk with Francesca anytime, anywhere. So thanks for listening. This portion of Talk with Francesca is sponsored by Drowan, Hitt & Hadass Law Firm, located at 50 Federal Street in Boston. When you're seeking legal counsel, call them at 617-377-4367. That number again is 617-377-4367. You can also visit them at drowanhitt.com. You no doubt will be glad that you did. All right, then, we are going to get going. We got lots to cover in a short period of time. What is the meaning of life is the forever prevalent question. So many philosophers and professors have studied and researched this. What happens when we die? Do we truly leave this world, or we return as another human being? Danish teacher Else Byskov claims that she has the answers to these and other related questions. In 1995, she happened to come across the work of Martinus, whose findings were beyond her, quote-unquote, wildest imagination. So much so that she's written 5 books about his work in the hopes that she can share his findings with those who may otherwise not have ever found out about him. I know personally I have never heard of him. She's certain that since becoming knowledgeable about Martinus's discoveries, her life is much better than ever before. So big welcome to you, Else. Thanks for joining us today on Talk with Francesca.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very excited to be here.
All right. So for those who are completely unfamiliar with Martinus, can you briefly explain who he was and what he worked on?
Yes, I can. Martinus was a Danish author, and he was born in 1890, and he died in 1981 at the age of 90. When Martinus was 30, he experienced, during meditation he experienced an expansion of his consciousness, which meant that he was able to see beyond the physical plane and into the spiritual plane beyond. And this experience, it happened on 2 consecutive days. And after this experience, he knew that, or he could see that his whole outlook on life had changed. And what had happened was actually that he had attained cosmic consciousness, which means that he was able to log into the sea of knowledge that is in the universe. This is sometimes also referred to as the Akashic records. Yes.
I've heard that before.
But that's a different story. That was just that if somebody had heard about those, this is a reference to them. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Martinus then spent the next 60 years of his life revealing what he could see, because he could see beyond the physical. And he could see the cause. Everything is caused on the spiritual plane. And that's where everything has its origin. And that resulted in 10,000 pages of spiritual wisdom, or a complete world picture, comprising both the physical and the spiritual world. And it is the most complete spiritual revelation ever disclosed to humankind. It is huge. It is so big. And you can find answers to all the big questions and then some. I cannot tell you how impressed and in awe I am about this work. And I have been studying it now for 23 years. And getting to know it completely changed my life, because it changed my outlook.
In what way did it change your outlook?
My mind was expanded. I mean, I could only, after I had studied his work, I could only see the world through the glasses of Martinus, if I can call it glasses, which of course it wasn't. But I could see the reason for us being here. Why are we here? What is the solution to the mystery of life? And I could also obviously see that death is an illusion, which is the title of my first book, which was published in 2002. And since then, I have written 5 other books about aspects of Martinus's worldview. And mind you, the work of Martinus will be a complete foundation for a completely new world culture. But it is still very, very early days. But it will be a world culture which is much more loving and much more logical than today. I mean, today we still have wars, we have greed, we have so much greed, it's horrible. But we have to get onto a new road that will give us much more humanitarianism, much more compassion, realizing that we are all one. Mm-hmm. And Martinus's work shows us the way towards this, but it is also a complete holistic philosophy. So obviously, when I encountered that in 1995, it was so big that I felt I had to tell somebody about it. And because I'm Danish, I can read his work in its original language. And I have studied English and Spanish, for that matter, at the university. So I thought I would bring it on to the English-speaking community. And that's why I wrote my first book in English and the other books as well.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Talk with Francesca. I'm speaking with Else Byskov, and we are discussing the work of Martinus. So, Else, a question that I would have for you is that you say that he changed your life. And practically speaking, like, give us a specific example of how you may have thought at one point and then how you thought after having studied his work.
Yeah, because before I had started his work, I thought my life, it was just about survival. Mm-hmm. Okay, you get a job, get a husband, have some children, and then survive until you reach the grave. Mm-hmm. But once I had studied the Martinus material, I realized that we are on an everlasting journey through spiritual and physical world, and mm-hmm. that this life is not the only one we live. This life is just one in a series of lives that we live. And I would like to underline this point, because the one life theory, which is the predominant theory today, we live once and then we die and then it's all over. It really, really sucks, excuse me, because when you have the one life theory, life is unjust, it is illogical, and it is unloving. Because when you look at two different fates, let's say we have a person who has a fantastic fate, who is rich and famous and has great health and lives in prosperity and happiness. And then we have another person who is maybe starving to death in Africa and dies when he is 5. And then we say, oh, this is the only life that those two individuals have. And then obviously life becomes very unjust and very illogical, because where's the logic of one person having a fantastic life, another person having a crappy life? And then that's all we're given.
First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. But when we come back, I want to talk about that, because, that is a huge thing. I mean, it seems to me that, some people have, the world is their oyster, and other people are struggling every day. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. Listeners, stay with us here. We're talking about the work of Martinus. We will be right back after this short break.
The new Cobblestone Cafe on Hanover Street in Boston brings casual, on-the-go American fare to the North End, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Open daily at 7 a.m., Cobblestone Cafe offers burgers, barbecue, salads, fries, milkshakes, seafood, and the very popular Snickerdoodle iced coffee. Delivery and catering are also available. Cobblestone Cafe, 227 Hanover Street in Boston. For more information, call 857-263-8057 or visit them online at cobblestonecafene.com.
If you're anything like me, your dog is no different than your child. That's when I can't take my fur baby with me. I bring him to Goodfellas Doggy Daycare at 20 Thresher Street, right on Route 1 North in Saugus. They offer separate play areas for big and small dogs, a full-size saltwater swimming pool, and top-notch training from puppy to adult. Goodfellas Doggy Daycare. We're your family, and with them, it's personal. Visit goodfellasdoggydaycare.com today. Every one of us will need a lawyer at some point in our lives, and if that point has already come for you, you know you need a good one. You need a qualified one who will defend your interests with exceptional knowledge and dedication. Luckily, I know where to find that lawyer. Whether your case involves real estate, employment, business law, or a governmental agency, David Hadass of Drowan, Hitt & Hadass is ready to help. With broad experience throughout the Boston area, David specializes in civil litigation and appellate law. He's been named Massachusetts super lawyer and top business litigator for 4 consecutive years by Boston Magazine. David represents large and small businesses as well as individuals. Find him online at drowanhit.com for more information to get started discussing your solution today. When you need legal representation, accept nothing less than the professional expertise of David Hadass of Drowan, Hitt & Hadass. Do you have chronic pain, neck, shoulder, or low back stiffness, headaches? Amanda King, licensed massage therapist, can help. Located in downtown Salem, Amanda has over 13 years of experience helping people with pain, injury, and stress. She can help you feel better, move better, relax, and enjoy your life. So call today to book your appointment at 617-461-7516 or learn more at www.clearbodymine.massagetherapy.com. Located in Boston's North End holds one of our best-kept secrets, Antico Forno, ranked number 9 of the top 10 Italian restaurants around the world within the category of being one of the most authentic. With a welcoming family feel, it's hard to argue the experience you have when enjoying dinner at Antico Forno. Best known for their brick oven pizza, their world-class traditional cuisine does not fall far behind. Come enjoy dinner at Antico Forno and feel like part of the family. Open daily from 11:30 a.m. until 10 p.m. Call us today at 617-723-6733 or visit us at anticofornoboston.com.
Hey, this is James Woods, and you are listening to Talk with Francesca.
All right, we are back, and you are listening to Talk with Francesca. So, Elle, so why is it then that, there's some people who just have the world, that everything in the world they could possibly imagine, and then there are other people who just struggle and have so much pain? What would your answer be to that? Why would you say that is?
My answer is that you cannot understand the fate of anybody seen in a one-life perspective. Mm-hmm. When you see life in a one-life perspective, it makes no sense. But when you see life in the real perspective, which is a perspective spanning many, many lives, then you will see that the fates will level out. One person will have a fate which is hard and full of suffering, and then maybe in his next incarnation, he will have a life where he lives in prosperity and happiness. And this is how it is. We all have to go through a certain amount of suffering. And those who are not suffering in this incarnation, that may be because they have already suffered a lot in former incarnations, and they have maybe reached the point where they have no more suffering to go through.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Why do people have to suffer in the first place? Why would
Yes, exactly. Why do people have to suffer? In order to understand that, you have to see the really big picture. And as we move through eternity, because we are eternal beings, believe it or not, we have to experience contrast. And when we are on the spiritual plane, we experience a lot of love and light and bliss, but there also has to be a place in the universe where we can experience the contrast to this, because if there is no contrast in the universe, the universe cannot exist eternally as it does. So there has to be a place where we experience suffering and darkness. And we are passing now the point where we are emerging from the darkness. I would say that the peak of darkness, the darkest period in the history of the earth, was probably the last century, with 2 world wars and all those terrible concentration camps and whatnot.
So are you saying that life has cycles?
Yes, absolutely. It has cycles. Yes, it does. The thing is that in order to evolve our humanitarianness, in order to evolve compassion, in order to be able to feel the suffering that other people feel, we have to go through suffering. And that is why we see so many people today who are are not willing to go to war. They're not willing to participate in the killing of animals. And they want to help when they see that there are catastrophes around the world. And that is because those people have been through a lot of suffering in their former lives, and they have become very compassionate and very humanitarian. And on the other hand, we see people who are terrorists who are willing to go out and kill other people. And they have simply not come as far in their evolution as the compassionate people. But as I said, you cannot understand the fate of anybody seen in a one-life perspective. And that is why we need to have a much bigger perspective in order to make sense of anything that happens on this planet.
Do you believe that we can control our fate?
Oh, yes. We can definitely control our fate to some point. But what we have to understand in order to control our fate is that we have to know that our fate is governed by the law of karma. And the law of karma is very simple because it says we reap as we sow. Mm-hmm. And if we go and sow a lot of crap, if we lie, if we cheat, if we steal, we will get the same back universe. Mm-hmm. Also, if we kill animals, if we participate in killing animals, we will get that back as black karma.
I thought about that yesterday when I had a spider in my house, and I thought, well, I can't keep this spider in my house, and I had to kill it. And I thought, oh no. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Talk with Francesca. We do need to take another short break. When we come back, listeners, more to talk about. Stay with us here.
The new Cobblestone Cafe on Hanover Street in Boston brings casual, on-the-go American fare to the North End, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Open daily at 7 a.m., Cobblestone Cafe offers burgers, barbecue, salads, fries, milkshakes, seafood, and the very popular Snickerdoodle iced coffee. Delivery and catering are also available. Cobblestone Cafe, 227 Hanover Street in Boston. For more information, call 857-263-8057 or visit them online at cobblestonecafene.com.
If you're anything like me, your dog is no different than your child. That's when I can't take my fur baby with me. I bring him to Goodfellas Doggy Daycare at 20 Thresher Street, right on Route 1 North in Saugus. They offer separate play areas for big and small dogs, a full-size saltwater swimming pool, and top-notch training from puppy to adult. Goodfellas Doggy Daycare, we're your family. And with them, it's personal. Visit goodfellasdoggydaycare.com today. Every one of us will need a lawyer at some point in our lives, and if that point has already come for you, you know you need a good one. You need a qualified one who will defend your interests with exceptional knowledge and dedication. Luckily, I know where to find that lawyer. Whether your case involves real estate, employment, business law, or a governmental agency, David Hadass of Drowan, Hitt & Hadass is ready to help. With broad experience throughout the Boston area, David specializes in civil litigation and appellate law. He's been named Massachusetts Super Lawyer and Top Business Litigator for 4 consecutive years by Boston Magazine. David represents large and small businesses as well as individuals. Find him online at drowanhit.com for more information to get started discussing your solution today. When you need legal representation, accept nothing less than the professional expertise of David Hadass of Drowan, Hitt & Hadass. Do you have chronic pain, neck, shoulder, or low back stiffness, headaches? Amanda King, licensed massage therapist, can help. Located in downtown Salem, Amanda has over 13 years of experience helping people with pain, injury, and stress. She can help you feel better, move better, relax, and enjoy your life. So call today to book your appointment at 617-461-7516 or learn more at www.clearbodymine.massagetherapy.com. Located in Boston's North End holds one of our best-kept secrets, Antico Forno, ranked number 9 of the top 10 Italian restaurants around the world within the category of being one of the most authentic. With a welcoming family feel, it's hard to argue the experience you have when enjoying dinner at Antico Forno. Best known for their brick oven pizza, their world-class traditional cuisine does not fall far behind. Come enjoy dinner at Antico Forno and feel like part of the family. Open daily from 11:30 a.m. until 10 p.m. Call us today at 617-723-6733 or visit us at anticofornoboston.com.
Hey, this is James Woods, and you are listening to Talk with Francesca.
All right, we are back, and you are listening to Talk with Francesca. I'm speaking with Else Byskov, and we are discussing the work of Martinus. Why do you think Else Martinus's work is not so popular then? I mean, I've never even heard of the guy, and, I'm not a kid.
No.
And a lot of people haven't heard of him, so why is it that it's such a big secret?
I'll tell you why.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I'll tell you why, because Martinus's work is huge, as I said, and it was written in Danish. But it hasn't been translated. It has been translated. A lot of it has been translated into English and Spanish, Scandinavian languages, but in its totality, it is still only available in Danish. And it is not something that, it's not a quick fix. It is something that you really have to study. And it is spreading, but it is spreading slowly. And Martinus knew that this would happen. He was not in any way interested in getting followers or proselytes. He knew that his work would spread gradually over the next few centuries. And he also clearly said that it is only in 200 years that his work will become known worldwide. So we are only beginning.
Now, I was just going to say that you mentioned on your site that his work ties in with divorce rate.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I've written a book about that called The Downfall of Marriage. And that is a very, very interesting point, because Martinus says that as we evolve and as we live life after life, we become less and less fit for marriage. Oh. And that is because women and men become more and more the same type of person. And that has something to do with the fact that we have a masculine pole and we have a feminine pole in our mental setup. And when we are very one-poled, like let's say 100 years ago, the woman was a woman and a man was a man. But the process of leveling out of the two poles has been going on for a long, long period of time, for many, many incarnations. And we are now reaching the point where the man and the woman are beginning to resemble each other so much that it no longer makes sense to be in a relationship where in the old days, we had to fulfill each other. What the woman didn't have, she could find in the man, and vice versa. But today, we can say that the transformation of the sexual poles stands in the way of marriage. Mm-hmm. And according to Martinus, marriage has outlived its mission. Marriage has its mission when we are very one-poled, and that is maybe many, many years ago, but it is beginning to have outlived its mission. And it influences so many things in our lives, our whole way
One
of
would
thinking.
not think that with all the dating sites out there. In your
No,
right?
I know, and people are still, because people don't know anything about this process, and and of course it's still nice to have a partner, and it's still wonderful to be in love and to have sex with somebody that you're in love with. So that is still something that is very attractive. But you can also see it on the divorce rates that this is not working. It's not working.
I'd say that sure is true.
Yeah, in the States you have 50% divorce rates. In Chile you have 70% divorce rates. The happy marriages are really not that many. And Martinus actually calls this period for the zone of the unhappy marriages. And that is what we are in now. And as we evolve, in 200 years, I think we won't see many people who are married, because we will be so strong and individually independent that we don't really want to commit to a situation where we are linked up to another person and have to comply with so many things that we may not want to. So the marriage will sometimes stand in the way of our careers, of our friendships, of our freedom. And when we reach that point, we are absolutely unfit for marriage.
Mm-hmm. We only have about a minute and a half left, but I just want to ask you, in your blog titled On Martinus, you stated that his work has not become a religion because religion is based on the ability to believe, and his work is based on logic. So is it safe to say that you don't consider yourself religious or spiritual?
Yes, I consider myself very, very much spiritual. What I'm saying is that Martinus's work is spiritual science, because it is not a religion, and he does not want anybody to believe in what he writes. He just wants people to study it and then hold it up against what we can actually experience in the world. Because when we do that, we can see that everything he says so fits. And I think it's important to make a distinction between religion, which is something you believe in, and spiritual science, which is something you study.
Right.
Because, I mean, I was an atheist myself, and I wanted to believe, but I couldn't. I couldn't believe because the ability that people should have in order to believe was simply not with me. And I know that many, many people have reached that point. And Martinus clearly says that it's among the atheists that you will find people who are most interested in his work, because even though you are an atheist and you say, hey, I don't care about God and who needs God anyway, you will still have questions. You will have questions about what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? What am I doing here? And at a certain point, you will start to doubt your atheism. Not that you are ready to go back to any of the established religions, but you want to find something that appeals to your intellect. And that is why the Martinus work has been published at this time, because so many people have had a huge development of their intellects. And the intellect, we can say, stands in the way of the ability to believe, because when the religions are so full of illogical stuff, and when you are a person who is very intellectual, you just can't buy it. So you need to have something, a spiritual science or something spiritual that will appeal to your intellect. And that is what the Martinus work does. I have never in my life read anything that appeals more to my intellect.
All right, we've got to wrap things up. You've been listening to Talk with Francesca. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, spread the word on social media. I'd love to hear from you. So drop me a note at info@talkwithfrancesca.com. See you tomorrow.
Don't try so hard to move past the moment.
Every one of us will need a lawyer at some point in our lives, and if that point has already come for you, you know you need a good one. You need a qualified one who will defend your interests with exceptional knowledge and dedication. Luckily, I know where to find that lawyer. Whether your case involves real estate, employment, business law, or a governmental agency, David Hadass of Drowan, Hitt & Hadass is ready to help. With broad experience throughout the Boston area, David specializes in civil litigation and appellate law. He's been named Massachusetts Super Lawyer and Top Business Litigator for 4 consecutive years by Boston Magazine. David represents large and small businesses as well as individuals. Find him online at drowanhit.com for more information to get started discussing your solution today. When you need legal representation, accept nothing less than the professional expertise of David Hadass of Drowan, Hitt & Hadass.